Okay. Hey everyone. Meteorologist Aaron Tuttle here with you, and it is time to talk about some fun stuff. And by fun stuff, I mean severe weather. For me, I'm a meteorologist, so of course this is going to interest me. For you, you're probably like, please no. So we're getting into the details on what you can expect. I know there's been a lot of stuff going on the internet here for the last couple of days. And so a lot of you guys are already all worked up, and I understand it. There's a little anxiety out there. But we're going to get to what you can expect as to whether or not you should be worried, if you should be prepared or planned, or what's going on, right? It's just the skinny. So thanks for joining me. Please like and share this video. Tell all your friends and family about me. Also, just keep in mind that when I do broadcast live for tornado coverage, that I'll be doing a live closed captioning. Not during this event right now, just more of a discussion over the model data. And also, if you'd like to get my weather app ad-free, in other words, the Google ads on there removed, all you have to do is join Patreon and or Subscribestar. The link is on this live video. If I get 4,000 more of you sign up, I almost have 1,000 of you, so if I get another 4,000, then it'll be ad-free for everybody. So a lot of you said, hey, how do I get an ad-free version? That's how you do it. All right, so let's get on into business, and I'm going to talk about the threat overall. So here's the deal. So this is probably the first graphic you saw kind of floating around the internet. This is from the Storm Prediction Center, and what they do is their job is to go out there and look at potential for storms 8 days away, basically. So what they've got highlighted, of course, for today, no big deal. Thursday, no big deal. And then Friday, here we go. Here's our first chance here out in western Oklahoma in the Texas Panhandle. Saturday, it's got central Oklahoma. And then Sunday, it's well east. Monday, it's back over Oklahoma. And on Tuesday, it's over eastern Oklahoma. And then Wednesday, it's got nothing. So we've got a couple of potential days here for some storms over Oklahoma. Now, how things are going to play out, well, we're going to have to wait and see. This is just kind of a heads up. It doesn't mean it's guaranteed. It just means that this is the times and the areas that we're watching. Okay, the other thing you may have seen floating around the internet is this guy right here. Now, look, research is great, but where research can go awry is when people share images that are based in preliminary research that don't have enough statistical backing of it yet to show enough significance. So this particular one highlights a big chunk of the country in red for tornadoes, for the week of the May 19th through the 25th, that period. So if you look at that, you're thinking scary, you're thinking tornadoes everywhere. Well, that's not the case. This just means in this particular area outlined, there's going to be a few tornadoes somewhere within this during that entire stretch. Now, that's not saying much for this time of the year. That's expected. So it's not like this is out of the ordinary. Now, what the forecasters do, though, is that they go in there and they try to rate as to whether or not it's going to be an above average period or a below average period. And right now, they're going for above average, which is AA for this time period. Now, this is all based off of teleconnections and ocean temperatures and convection over different parts of the globe. So this is a very, very preliminary scientific gamble that the researchers are hoping will pay off long term to try to predict tornadoes or tornado-producing environments, let's say, way down the road. So it's in its infancy, and we're just going to monitor it and see how it performs this year and next year, and then maybe eventually something will come out of this as an official product. But again, I want to give you the backstory on this first, because this is what's been shared around. If you don't know the backstory, you're not going to understand it. So I want to let you guys know the backstory. It's really cool backstory because it's research and meteorology, of course, so I'm going to eat it up. I just don't want you to panic over it. All right, so those are two things, got you out of the way. So now let's get into the details of what you can expect that's going to happen. We're going to look at a couple of models and we'll tell you what I think right now is the best outcome that we're likely going to see. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I like the Texas Tech model when it comes to severe storms generation here for this time of the year. And I'm going to take you into Friday. I'm going to jump right on ahead. This is Friday evening. And I'm going to show you it's having trouble producing any storms out here in the eastern Texas Panhandle. The reason for that is quality of moisture. It doesn't think there's going to be enough deep moisture out here to produce thunderstorms, but it does have the moisture enough with the elevated terrain out here in western Texas to produce these storms, and they will move northeast overnight Friday night on and pushing into Oklahoma, but they really don't have much activity. I mean, it kind of falls apart there as it heads toward the midnight hour. We'll see if this new generation develops overnight late, but right now this model didn't go out that far. Again, it's a short-term model, so we're just now getting into the window of it. But the take-home here is it doesn't think much is going to happen out west. So the question is, of course, is that going to happen? Now, all the severe weather parameters out here other than moisture are there for producing supercell storms, large hail, damaging wind, and yes, a couple of tornadoes. So we can look at some other model data that has come in time. These are other high resolution models that we use, and this particular model here I like. It's doing really well this spring at nailing down things that are going to happen or not happen and the general trend of how things evolve. And this is going into Friday afternoon. Once again, you can focus out here in western Oklahoma where that threat of severe weather is. And what do you see? Nothing. I'm going to go on into the midnight hour. Still nothing out there. So, in other words, it is not set in stone. We're going to see any storms at all out in western Oklahoma or the Texas Panhandle Friday afternoon along the dry line. Now, the model does try to produce some storms down here into Texas and also tries to produce some elevated stuff here in central Oklahoma after midnight on Friday. Now, this is the key for Saturday. A lot of the models are starting to show this activity expanding in this fashion, moving in this direction on Saturday in the morning hours. Now, you remember a week or so ago, we had that storms that moved through late on a Tuesday night, took its sweet time clearing the state on Wednesday. What did that do for that Wednesday severe weather day? We saw sunshine. So this could be a similar outcome for Saturday. So even though Saturday otherwise would look pretty potent as far as severe weather parameters go, this alone right here could mess everything up. Now, mess everything up in a good way. But again, I want you to know this solution, once again, is on the table. And I mentioned this in my Facebook Live at lunchtime of the day. A lot of things can go wrong in a tornado-producing environment that the models do not see until we get closer to it, and this would be one of them, where the storm system just comes out ill-timed and it just doesn't take advantage of peak daytime heating and things fire off too early and all that kind of stuff. Now, I can look at its other brother here, and we'll see what it does with that big cluster of storms down in Texas. So this is Saturday morning. It's got it moving on here into central Oklahoma, southern and eastern Oklahoma, even forming a squall line by the time it heads into far eastern Oklahoma Saturday afternoon and into Arkansas. So actually more of the severe weather aspect on Saturday, if this were to pan out, would actually more kind of in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, kind of in this region right here for Saturday afternoon and evening, and not in the body of Oklahoma on Sunday. So we go a couple more hours out from Saturday afternoon. What do you see? Nothing. So this is at 10 o'clock Saturday night. We haven't seen anything in central Oklahoma to talk about. We got some new storms up here in northwestern parts of the state. They might be some low top supercells with some hail in them, something like that. Too early to tell if there would be any other threat other than that for that particular cluster, and they'd be very weak compared to the storms that are moving down in here. So if you're watching in Dallas-Fort Worth area, wondering, hey, we can get some storms. According to the model data, midday to mid-afternoon on Saturday, yes, you should get some rough and stuff storms. Could you see a couple of tornadoes? Sure, why not? Let's take a look at the sounding down here in this area, and we'll look at this together because I haven't seen this yet. So we'll see how the atmosphere looks, wind shear-wise, and stability, and all that kind of stuff. So, okay, so the atmosphere is, it's a decent wind profile. Not a lot of turning with it, but it's got low cloud basis, so deep moisture. Capes around 4,000, plenty of instability. It's got a tornado for the hazard type. Not quite a classic supercell structure, but it's got a lot of analogs, which go back in history for a lot of large hail, 3 to 4 inches in diameter, in supercells. So, in other words, in Dallas-Fort Worth for Saturday afternoon, you guys' threat for severe weather is way higher than Oklahoma as it looks right now. So you got friends and family in Dallas, Fort Worth. Again, they may not get a tornado out of it, but they're going to get some other nasty stuff when it comes to supercell storms. Okay, so back in Oklahoma, when I go back to this Friday time frame, there's something else I want to show you. And this is where I think the models may be wrong and we actually get some storms, and that's going to be initiated. This actually has it in northwest Oklahoma, but I actually think we could see a storm or two fire in northeastern Texas Panhandle and then move northeast across far northwest Oklahoma, probably just north and west of Woodward, into south central southwestern Kansas. So there might be a storm or two that does manage to break the cap in there. Right now, I can see that solution. That would be my forecast right now. Otherwise, not a big deal as far as the rest of the things go. The way it looks now, in the data that I've seen, we're going to get a lot deeper moisture. So that's the last thing I want to show you within regards to that. So here's a look at the same area I picked on the map, okay? And then this is looking at the quality of moisture. So one of the models has no moisture in the sounding. In other words, the temperature and the dew point, the green and the red, are too far apart. When that happens, the cloud bases are way up here at close to, good grief, 8,000, 9,000 feet. You can't get a tornado in that environment typically. All right, so it's, in other words, the moisture is ankle deep. It mixes out, and that's a problem. Now, if we look at its brother, which is a more higher resolution model, it's going, you know what? I think there's going to be a little more moisture. Lines are closer together. Therefore, the cloud bases are a lot lower, so around 1,000 feet or so. But the issue that this model has, and let me clear this back out, is this guy right here. This little arrow pointing to this red line that goes like this, that's a strong cap. So the bottom line is this one has a little moisture, but it's got a stronger cap. The other one has the cap eroding, but not enough moisture to do much. So either way, it is not a favorable environment at this point in time. It's just a few things missing, and that's the way it looks right now. We're just now in that 48-hour window we can give you these types of details. So I want you to let your, everybody cool down a little bit for Friday as far as the threat goes. Sure, stay aware, but just know that it's not exactly favorable right now the way things look. Oklahoma City, there's not a threat at all. This is way out western Oklahoma near the state line. Should things even happen for late Friday afternoon and Friday evening. And then we'll track them east, assuming that they even hold together, all that kind of stuff. And that's a lot of assumptions, a lot of ifs. But that's the way things look right there. Okay, so that takes care of Friday and then also into Saturday. Let me see if this has updated. Not yet. Okay. What I like to do also in this type of situation is look at the ensemble members, because these control runs sometimes do good and sometimes not so good. And so I like to see more of a blended of the model suite to make a better prediction. Let's see. Let's jump back into, let's see, so that was Sunday. All right, let me see what this one does. Okay, and that goes as far as Saturday morning. Okay, so once again, this is Saturday morning. This is the high resolution I went back to just to see how things are evolving in western Texas, moving into Oklahoma. So if you're just joining me late, this activity here could easily move here into the body of the state on Saturday and really put the kibosh on our severe weather threat. Now, let's say that does happen. Okay, now the question is, can we recover in time? A lot of that depends on the timing. If this stuff comes in early enough in the morning and moves out enough in the afternoon, there'll be a very small window, a very small area where things can get bubbling up again. It won't be as potent as it could, had this stuff not happen, but you could sometimes get some storms out of it. I'm going to look at a potential solution for that. So this takes you into Saturday morning. So as you Saturday afternoon, all the heavy rain here in eastern Oklahoma moving away. This is about 5 o'clock, and you can see some thunderstorms here developing in western parts of Oklahoma, maybe even one here in south central Oklahoma. But they're not nearly as intense looking on this output as they normally would be. But some heavy rain here in the northwestern parts of the state, so there might be some rough thunderstorms, just your garden variety, springtime stuff. Saturday evening in northern Oklahoma, maybe even parts out west. This particular model says there'll be a pretty good thunderstorm here in western Oklahoma that moves in to the metro as we approach let's call it the 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock hour, so somewhere around that time. And remember, typically storms that happen after dark, most of the time the tornado threat is a lot lower. This time of the year, it might hang in there for a couple of hours. There'll be a little bit of a lag, but by the time we hit the midnight hour, it should be dropped almost, not quite zero, but it should be pretty close to that. So we'll have to wait and see how that evolves. But again, that's putting the cart before the horse, and that's way out in time from today. So I don't get too carried away and make promises that I won't be able to keep. But right now, that's the way the data looks, and that's what we're going to have to watch for. All right, was there anything else I wanted to show you? I think that was it. So we can, let me do this. What do I want to do here? Hang with me here for a second. I'm thinking. Yeah, I could go back and do that one. All right, let's try this. All right, come on, computer, you can do it. All right, let's zoom into Oklahoma, and then we're going to go long range because remember the other days was Monday of interest. So, let's see, this will be loaded. Okay. All right, so this particular run, let's see, it's got nothing again for Friday. Saturday, it's got some storms out there, but not a whole lot. Let's see. It's going into Monday. So it's got storms on Monday in the morning hours to lunchtime already moving through, and then moving through the eastern half of the state from lunchtime Monday to Monday evening, and then exiting out of here. And then that's it. Let's see. There's Wednesday afternoon. It does have a couple of thunderstorms. Looks like try to form for Wednesday. Let's see. And then that's about it. Nothing exciting really after that for Oklahoma. Okay, so should this pan out, the translation is for this one is that the system is coming in too early for Monday, which means the western parts of Oklahoma, the severe weather that comes in is far reduced to very low, and then eastern Oklahoma would have the higher risk of severe storms for Monday afternoon as that line or cluster of storms moves on through. Other storms for Tuesday and other model data had more of a squall line type feature moving through the eastern half of Oklahoma on Tuesday. Now this one doesn't have that. This is a new trend to really dry things out. So we'll have to see if this trend continues, but that's just something that's on the table. So I just want to throw that your way. So once we get past this weekend, we'll look at Monday, and again, timing could be a problem. Let me check on the timing on a different model. So what I'm doing is I tell you all this stuff so you can make an informed decision, and you'll have all the pieces. In other words, you'll know everything there is to know today. What could go wrong, how things could end up being not that big of a deal, and what it would take to make them a big deal. Okay, so here's a look at, let's go, Monday morning. So it's got through lunchtime storms out in western Oklahoma, so it's a little slower than other model. And so it produces the big brunt of these particular heavier storms in central Oklahoma from lunchtime Monday through the afternoon. So that would shift the severe weather threat back west into central Oklahoma, plus a lot of rain, like flooding rain type deal. And then Tuesday afternoon, there's that big heavy rain that moves through as well. So, and then after that, didn't really have a whole lot on the signal. I'm going to show you the precipitation totals. And again, this is just kind of give you an idea. It's not going to be, guaranteed as far as you're going to see exactly this amount of rainfall, at your backyard. The point I'm driving home here is that the flash flooding problem might be significant. So the highest amounts it has here on the map is around 5 to 6 inches of rain, where you get some training and some of those really heavy thunderstorms kind of rain on top of each other. So there you go. That's potential for flash flooding throughout this period. If you're one of the unlucky ones that's already had plenty of water and you get in a situation like that. So that's something else to be watching for within this realm of things. So that way you're covered on all aspects. And believe it or not, flash flooding kills more people than lightning or hail or tornadoes. So it's actually kind of almost, you call it the silent killer, because the people really don't pay much attention. They don't think it's a big deal. Cross your roadway, it's got some water on it, and then they think they're fine, and then it turns out they're not. But that can happen. Okay, so I've pretty much talked to you about everything you wanted to know. Again, if you're in central Oklahoma, it's Friday, no big deal. This is way out west to the state line, and right now the odds are extremely small. Then as we head into Saturday, looks like morning showers and storms, which will be very low on the severe weather scale. May not see any severe weather, at that low part of the day. It's hard to get severe weather at 7 a.m. It just really is. But as that moves through, it cools the atmosphere, stabilizes us. So any storms that try to develop after that point, say late Saturday afternoon, will have a hard time getting to severe weather limits than they would have had we not had that round move through. So again, that could be a good thing for us for Oklahoma. Now, let's just assume the models are out to lunch and there's no storms Friday at all. Not west, not southwest into Texas. Well, then Saturday, that's where we had the opportunity to take advantage of everything that's in the atmosphere. And I'll show you a sounding. It'll be hard because the models will be a little goofy. Let me see. There's a chance that this one might work. So let me show you this. Saturday, we'll go 0Z. It won't be the best, but it'll give me something to look at here. So, okay, yeah. So this is Yeah, this is for Saturday afternoon. So what happened was, since the rain came in, it messed up the whole atmosphere. So that's the issue also. When you get the model produces precipitation, it then forecasts the atmosphere, what it looks like after that precipitation. So this is an example I can show you how Saturday wouldn't be a big deal. First off, there's a lot of subsidence. All right, so that means a huge cap. This guy right here can't break that cap. The winds down here at the surface are weak, 10 knots, 15 knots. Not going to get a tornado with that. Let's see what else. The shear up top, the wind speeds direction up top. Let's see here. It's more all southerly, so that's not good. So basically, indicate values are less than 500, and yeah. So in other words, it wrecks the whole atmosphere, and we can all enjoy our Saturday afternoon according to this particular outcome. And it is perfectly acceptable to have this as a solution. And right now, I've got no problems with it. In other words, that would be my forecast, because I got to go with what our best guidance suggests. And right now, that's what it is. So if you're asking me, let's see, what the issue is, it would be a few storms out here in potentially the northeastern Texas panhandle, far northwest Oklahoma, Friday evening, and then a cluster of storms in West Texas at that point in time. They move north and east into southwest Oklahoma by daybreak on Saturday. Those expand north and east throughout the day. We get some good rain out of it, and then we end up with a cool, more stable environment where you have less of a threat of any severe weather at all. And then that means the bulk of the severe storms for Saturday will be far east compared to what the original outlook is. In other words, it'll be more in the far eastern Oklahoma, down in North Texas, say Dallas, and then Tyler, and then back up toward Arkansas. And that would be your threat for the big hail, big wind, and a few tornadoes. So that's what we'll be watching for, to see how that evolves. And unfortunately, this far out in time, you can't give anything more than that. Sunday's quiet, and then Monday we have the potential for storms again. Looks pretty decent as far as the atmosphere goes. Question is, they come in too early, or they come in late and take advantage of the atmosphere? That's the $1 million question. So we won't know that either. Again, we're beyond the 48-hour window for that. The reason why I say 48 hours is because that's what we call the mesoscale window. The mesoscale window is less than like 1,000 kilometers. In other words, mesoscale window, okay, you have your synoptic. Synoptic is big jet stream, big storm systems moving all across the world. Mesoscale is just, a state or a couple of states, that's it, of territory. And within that, you can then look for features such as dry line, cold fronts, outflow boundaries, where you've got convection in one area, subsidence and sinking in another, or you got some breaks in the clouds and some heating, instability. So those kind of things you really can't see prior to 48 hours out. And then as we get closer to it, you get better resolution, better handling on those. And that's why the forecast continues to improve and gets more fine-tuned as you get within that window closer to the event. So sometimes some things aren't really clear until the day of. And there's been known where you wake up in the morning, for example, let's say on Saturday. You wake up in the morning, it's a slight risk of severe storms, but all of a sudden by Saturday afternoon update, at their 3:30 update in the afternoon, they've now gone a high risk from the Storm Prediction Center. That's happened before, and it can happen because what happens is they have to watch these trends, and then stuff like I told you on Saturday can really mess things up, and then all of a sudden it's out of here, then the atmosphere recovers, and you just went from a low risk back to a high risk. So that's how those things can evolve, and that's why sometimes the day of. So what you do is you just plan, just be prepared, know what the potential outcomes are, and have your game plan. Otherwise, go about your business. Use my weather app, AT's Weather to Go. It alerts you if you got storms coming. Make sure you have a NOAA weather radio, especially at night as well. You can program those. Matter of fact, I've got a Amazon store right now, and you can actually go to that store. Matter of fact, let me see, is it still up? Let me see. Yeah. Okay, so on this link that you're looking at, I have an Amazon store where you can actually shop for a lot of weather-related gear. And I picked out a lot of things that I think the kids are going to like, from books to science kits. I've got winter stuff on there. Of course, you won't need that right now. But I've got a weather station on there that I actually personally use, and your NOAA weather radio that I personally recommend. So take a look at those if you're interested. It's the link again is on this broadcast, so that'll be helping you out. Probably save a few bucks that way as well. Okay, so that I think is it for me. I think that's all I have to say. What I'll do is I'll do an update at lunchtime tomorrow around 12 o'clock, and then I'll do another update tomorrow evening, and then we'll do one again Friday around lunchtime, and then that's it. And then we'll just see how things evolve. And I may do one Friday evening based off of how things go, or I might be actually covering a couple of tornadoes. Who knows? We'll see what happens, but that is the plan. So appreciate you guys watching and joining me for tonight. I don't have any time for questions or anything like that, but I do appreciate your patronage. And speaking of, if you'd like to be a patron and get access to my closed group secret Facebook page, just hit the links here on this broadcast, which is you can sign up either through patreon.com or through Subscribestar. And then again, once I get enough of you guys sign up for that, then I'll make my weather app, AT's Weather to Go, ad free for everybody. So no more looking at those ads, and you'll be happy with that as well. Okay, that's it from me, guys. I appreciate your time, and we'll talk again soon. All right, good night.